Hi kids, how you doing? It's time once again for the top 10 worst list. I'm your host for this Odyssey. And my name is Eaton Wright. And it's a real pleasure to be able to be here. And the top 10 list I got for you is just like mind-blowing, okay? Your mind, what's left of it after all the various different brainwashing, rinse, wash, and repeat. Wait, no. Wash, rinse, and repeat level of brainwashing that you've been treated to by our captors, our beloved leaders. Long may they live. Probably not much left going on in that brainstem of yours. Let's be honest. I'm going to be. It's time to end all the delusions. There's just no point to it. But before we go, and I think you're going to be very excited about today's list, especially all you puff passers. You passing the Dutchies on the left-hand side, aren't you? Oh, you're going to love today's list, aren't you? You know it. But before we get there, we got to go through disclaimers. I'm obligated. Sorry. Sad time for all of us, but it won't take long. Number one, I'm nuts, and I have a strong suspicion that I'm on dangerous levels of psychotropic drugs. I'd watch me if I were you. Because anything could happen. I could lead us into like some real trouble here. And I know a lot of that stuff, like those phrases and things that make robotic heads spin off from having, what is the sound of one hand clapping types of stuff that might perplex you. It might not necessarily be something that an unstable mindset or indulging in high levels of and quantities of hallucinogens, and I can take them to places where they will need an abundant level of orange slices to chill out and mellow and recontextualize their mellow, man. Number two, I'm not partisan. I know I can't be trusted or relied upon because of the brain compromising of my brain, but I'm not so compromised that I'm going to play your game anymore. There's no, it's freaking obvious that we've been divided and conquered, and all the hatred that they've force-fed us in our society it's all just a load of bull dink. One person will say one side is bad, the other person say the other side is bad, on. Everybody's so bad. Then what we have nothing worth saving. If everybody is so horrible like everybody says everybody else is, what's the point of even trying or talking about it? Just roll over and let the robot armies come and turn our bodies into car batteries and stuff. Why even suffer through it? I mean, they've already taken our culture and turned it into a bunch of, like a big giant plastic wasteland, like that old rock and roll song, Plastic Wasteland. Oh yeah, only plastic wasteland. Well, that was I went into a little bit of a Cher imitation there. It's pretty, I know a lot of you people are impressed at the facility of my Cher imitation. You didn't realize that you were working with a professional here on top 10 worst lists. I am available for weddings, bar mitzvahs, and quinceañeras. If you want me to do top 10 lists. And my prices are reasonable. And, fix me a plate. Usually there's probably enough of all the comestibles. There's usually enough to be able to attain my services. I'll come in, I'll do a top 10 list or two. I'll scream at all the kids and stuff about how dumb they are and how much of a victim of brainwashing they're in danger of becoming for the rest of their lives. And give them a couple of top 10 lists to prove my top 10 words list to prove my point. It's fun. So I'm trying to create a movement here where, we all hate everyone, everything equally together. You get it? Okay, got it, good. All right, here we go. Top 10 worst list again. Wow, it kind of sounds like I'm phoning it in, doesn't it? I'm not phoning it in. I'm committed to the top 10 worst list as I ever have been. Committed is an interesting word to use in a situation with somebody who's, doesn't seem to be 100% in control of their faculties. Yeah, committed is the word, I think. A lot of people, would cross a lot of people's minds as they're watching these types of lists. All right, so today's top 10 worst list. Top 10 worst times to drop acid. You know it, baby. There are actually people might think that, that Buddy, what's my name again? I forget. John Q. Public something. Hang on. Eaton. Yeah, Eaton Wright. I've got, if you're saying you're there saying Eaton, hey, whoa, pump the brakes, Eaton. I don't know, I'm lost, man. I completely, I don't know where I'm at. All right, so let's get in with the list. Just whatever, spinning it before everything spins out of control. At least I've got the list written out so I have something to go back to if I have another flake out here. Psychotropic drugs, man. It's a bitch. All right, so top 10 worst times to drop acid. Number 10, right before you meet with the IRS for a tax audit. Not a good time to be tripping balls. It's not. Trust me, I know this. Number 9, right before you ask your potential in-laws for their daughter's hand in marriage. Now, see, I don't know that I wrote this list a long time ago. I'm not so sure that, in today's cancel culture, hungry environment, that being tanked up on a head full of acid when you're meeting the in-laws for the first time, because I think the acid makes you more, sort of responsive to the nuances of the reaction of the parents. And you're not going to want to, sitting there going, please have your daughter's hand in marriage. And they'll be sitting there looking like, but aren't you a lefty? And you'd be like, yeah. And they're like, well, we want to own the libs, man. So you're barking up the wrong tree. Go, stuff it and whatever. And you're like, come on, man. Don't harsh my mellow. And they'll be like, well, you make an interesting point. So maybe there are situations in this particular, maybe number 9 here is not 100% accurate in all contextual situations. And we all need to use our situational awareness in order to be able to figure out our way through life. Just because I read off a list with all these different things doesn't mean that there are individual variations in the top 10 worst items list. I might say that there are times at which you should launch the banned fish into outer space and isolate them in the International Space Station without the possibility of radio contact with the outside world until the frickin' International Space Station crashes to Earth and takes care of the fish problem for all of us. Wow, what a relief that would be. A world without fish. We can only pray, right? But sometimes you might need fish. Who knows? Some outer space aliens without any discernible discerning ear or personality or need to have, music that is inspired or sounds like it's being made by humans who give a rat's ass about what they're playing. Maybe a whole alien race like that will come down and they're like, do you have anything dull and lifeless that we can listen to while we're, preparing to make our statement at the United Nations General Assembly? And they'll be like, damn, this would have been the perfect time for fish. So I'm down to earth enough, man, that I know that sometimes situational awareness is necessary, even for something as sacrosanct as the top 10 worst times list, bad things list. And I think this one, number 9, I think that, might be a little bit easier sometimes, especially, with all the problems that people have within their family of them being intolerant or having an affinity for the opposite side of the political aisle, the political spectrum that they've been using in order to be able to make us hate each other nonstop and want to see each other dead. Number 8 of the top 10 worst times to drop acid. Right before you come out to your parents that you're bi-curious. Woo! Yeah, that'd be a tough one. Hey, man, occasionally I'm down and whatnot. And your parents would be like, well, son, we're sorry to hear that because we're fundamentalist Christians and we don't like to hear things about people coloring outside the lines with their sexual orientation. We must kill you. That can happen. And that could lead to a toxic freakout. Always good to carry your orange slices with you anywhere you go while tripping balls. Get those orange slices at the ready. Number 7 of the top 10 worst times to drop acid, right before a body cavity search at the TSA. Those guys, they love to get their body cavity search on, and they might want to go steep and deep on you. It's been done. It's been known to happen. Number 6. On your first day at the new job, if you're going down to Archer Daniels Midland, and you're going to be a scientist creating genetically modified seed material, and you show up and you're, blasted out of your gourd, fully tweaked, and you show up and you talk to, the head scientist of your team, and he's like, well, Mr. So-and-so, how would you like to, maybe look through the microscope and figure out we've had a problem with this DNA strand? And you're like, hey, man, did anybody around here have a little pipe hit that I might be able to Bogart? Is Bogart still a word? Bogart. Where did that come from, Bogart? Humphrey Bogart didn't seem like a guy who would, smoke up all your supply. What are you going to do? Number 5 of the top 10 worst times to drop acid. While you are driving a busload of school kids to see the scenic overviews on the Pacific Coast Highway. And by school kids, I mean blind orphans. See, I knew I needed to beef up the script. I had a feeling. And here we are. Right and smack dab in the middle of the script, I'm putting in something as sort of nondescript, like school kids instead of busload full of blind orphans. And here we are. A joke that only goes like halfway. It's like a check swing in baseball. And you get called out on strikes, even though you checked your swing. It's a bad call. That's why they put instant replay in for the. God, baseball's so freaking horrible. How does anybody support that? And I read somewhere. I'm not sure if this is for real yet or not. I just read somewhere that they're going to destroy Wrigley Field. They're going to sterilize it. They got a multi-billion-dollar project or something that they're going to, completely revamp the thing to be the sterile, modern-day baseball park. What a great achievement that is. Sterilize the hell out of it. And those rotten bastards who own the Chicago Cubs, they should bury them with debt that they never get out from under, and they live their lives as paupers. And wouldn't that be fun? Have them walk around the street just like pariahs and with no visible means of support. All right, back to the top 10 worst times to drop acid. Number 4, right before watching any movie starring Rob Schneider. Because that's a bad trip, man. You don't put yourself, in harm's way when you're trying to, see the stars and, make beautiful psychedelic things happen in your mind, man. Turn on, turn off, and drop out. Actually, nowadays it's turn on, turn off, tune in, turn off, and drop in. I don't know. I'm trying to reverse the whole tune in, turn off, and drop out, or whatever the hell that was back in the Timothy Leary days, and reverse it to suggest that in today's modern day contextual situations in regards to culture and education, etc., that conformity is viewed as the more righteous and laudable behavior for people looking to go against the flow. I'm going to be more right wing. Hey, how you doing, everybody? I'm going to be more conservative going forward. Finally, yes. We've been worried about you, kid. I'm so glad to have you on the team. Now go ahead and grab a towel and hit the showers. You've done all the work necessary for yourself and others around you by not upsetting the apple cart. Number 3 of the worst times to do acid, right before you give a eulogy at your baby's funeral. Who stuck this in? Who's this? I did not write this. This is an act of sabotage. I would never write something that disturbing and disgusting. And I fie on the person who did this. I fie on you, sir. A pox on both your houses. Well, not. No. I call you out to do. Why a coward? This is a coward who did this. Who snuck into my list and altered it. It's not surprising, though, to have altered states in a list that's about worst times to do acid. Number 2, the worst time to do acid, to drop acid while testifying to defend yourself in a drug dealing trial. It might prejudice the jury. I think this is a controversial, number 2, very controversial. I don't know where, people are going to view upon this. I think this is going to get a lot of headlines for me, quite frankly. And I think that a lot of people are going to be like, did you hear about the radical thing that happened on the top 10 worst list the other day? Well, he came out against dropping acid while testifying against yourself in a drug dealing trial. Oh, and they'll be like, oh my God, do you really believe that? I can't believe that we would go there. He went there. Did he go there? He went there. Wow, that's amazing. Anyway, I think that and that type of controversy is the type of thing that we're looking for. I'm looking for. What both of us are looking for. What are you saying? I'm saying that maybe I'm sorry, I transgressed. I didn't mean to insult you. Well, it's about time. You haven't been treating me with a lot of respect lately. Well, you know how it is. Yeah, I know how it is. All right, thanks. Well, I'll see you at dinner time. All right, yeah, thanks. What are we making? We're making manwich. Superb. All right, so number 1, the top 10 worst times to drop acid. There is no inappropriate time to drop acid. Well, that concludes another edition of Top 10 Worst Things. List is whatever. I don't know. I need to come up with a better title for these. If I'm going to keep doing it, I don't know if I'm going to keep doing it. It's goddamn, it's a burden. And people get so hateful. And I think it's jealous. They're jealous of all of my wonderful, wonderful lists. But anyway, to conclude, everything I've said here is just opinions. Nothing is, I have no footnotes with citations to prove any of the assertions I've said about dropping acid here. And so I just wanted to get that out there. I'm simply channeling this information. I sit around, I'm quiet, I turn the radio off, and contemplate my enormous navel, and I come up with this stuff. And occasionally I have a team of crack-addicted somnambulists who gather together at the Corn Palace in South Dakota and come up with this stuff to augment some of the things with, and when I come to when I can get a little bit too complacent sometimes, and my top 10 worst lists will become dull, uninspired, and doesn't have a really coherent, applicable theme that can change the world for the better by the power of the top 10 worst list, which is the stated goal. I'm just, again, proud to be here. Hit me up with a comment if you've been inspired or you feel creative. Join my Patreon or leave a tip would be great, because my physical ailments threaten my life to almost unsurvivable levels. All right, so why not smash the freaking like button? Smash the freaking like button already. And subscribe for me, you filthy animal. And let's try to get through this thing together. We'll see you next time. Hey, wait, one more.